Hello, besties. Welcome to MarTEAnis with Eddie, your ultimate destination for everything Bravo. Join me as we spill the tea, dissect the drama, and uncork the juiciest gossip from your favorite reality TV shows. And today, I'm joined by my friend Caitlin from Bestie by Caitlin. She came to New York City last week, and we had one of the best weeks ever. And it's funny because this is a full circle moment. Like about a year ago, we went together on our first Bravo theme trip to Charleston about a year ago. And last week, we got to go to the clubhouse for the very first time together. And we're gonna be talking about it here today, and also some hot takes on Bravo News, like Portia joining um, Atlanta again. We have Winter House on pause, and we're gonna be talking about some housewife related episodes and a little bit of that documentary, The Housewife and the Hustler, because that one was once again an eye opener for all of us. So here is my friend Caitlin from Bestie by Caitlin. Hi, Bestie.
Hi, bestie. Thank you for having me.
How you doing today?
I'm a little under the weather. I brought back a little bug with me from New York City, but we're kicking it. We're doing just fine. It feels like it was yesterday I saw you, but really it was only 3 days ago.
I know you took a little piece of New York with you in a form of a bug.
Yeah, I sure did. Better a bug than one of those subway rats, let me tell you.
That's right. So I was just saying that you came last week and we had
Mhm,
an amazing time. Um,
mhm.
you text me about a month ago saying, "Hey, do you want to go to Watch What Happened Live?" And I said, "Absolutely yes."
Yeah. Yeah, got, I grew an extra pair and went ahead and asked Andy when I was a virtual caller. I may have looked slightly calm and confident, but believe me, my friends, my palms were sweating so much I was just wiping my hands on my jeans. But yeah, they got us taken care of, and I thought, well, you know what? Let's go, Eddie. Let's do it.
Let's do it. It was really fun. It's like I actually got to experience Caitlin sweaty pump hand and overthinking everything
Uh-huh.
in the segment when you ask Andy a question.
Yeah.
Because for
Mhm.
those who are watching or listening right now, when you are invited to watch What Happened Live, you have the opportunity to ask Andy a question right before they film the episode. On
Mhm.
our episode, we got to see Alan Cumming and Darren Criss.
Mhm.
Um, Before we got into the studio, the clubhouse, we get some like drinks in a lobby, which is really fun and whatever. I got
Mhm.
whiskey on the rocks. That's my go-to drink. What did you get? I know it was some fruity thing.
Yeah, I'm not usually someone who drinks liquor. When I do, it's usually a spicy marg. So I don't even know what it was. It was sweet. It wasn't super strong, at least. Excuse me, my voice is like coming and going. But yeah, it was something like vodka, pineapple, cranberry. Yeah, it was sweet. I barely was paying attention to it because I was like, oh my God, we're in the clubhouse.
But the best part is like when you actually get to go inside, it does feel very familiar. I mean, we've seen
Hmm.
that place over the decades,
Yeah,
many
between
times, every night.
exactly, in between, seeing the setup they do at BravoCon and things like that. I mean, it really felt like you'd already been there. I don't know, I was, like, expecting to feel like it was brand new to me, but like you just said, we've watched so many times that it's like, "Oh, this is my second home." Please let it be my second home, Andy.
Yes, please. By the way, I think one of the best moment of the night is like when you get to see what happened between breaks. I mean,
Yeah.
we see commercials, right? They
Mhm.
don't obviously don't show commercials. It's just like a 2 second break. And
Yeah.
those in between breaks when you get to see the guests just being themselves,
Mm.
Andy just playing around the clubhouse, talking to people, those moments were what truly made that experience so much
Mhm.
fun.
Made it more real.
Yes. It
Mhm.
kind of take away that like really like tension of like thinking, oh my gosh, I'm here, to like, okay, I'm here and having a good time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and the music they played, they were playing so much Britney, I was like, "Yes, I am in my element."
I mean, it's a very gay environment in my head. Meaning, like, it's all pop divas being playing in the background. I was like,
Yeah.
if I feel like I'm like in a midtown bar right now having a cocktail.
Yes, yes, and honey, you know I fit right in with my gays.
I know.
I was in.
I always tell Caitlin that she is a gay man.
I
That she
am,
was
what can I
she
say?
probably was a gay man in her previous life because she can definitely hang with the gays.
I do. I realized I was like, I only hung out with one female the entire time I was in New York, and I mean, I know where I fit in.
So we went to the clubhouse. What was for you that kind of like take from it? Like what do you take from going to the clubhouse, and what would you want to do next time that when you go to the
Well,
clubhouse?
yeah, one thing I noticed is a lot of the staff, you can tell they're very happy to be there. The bartender that was there for that lobby you were speaking on, that's kind of like this sort of mini clubhouse, I would say, for where you get to take your pictures. He was so nice and so talkative and was like, "So, what are you going to ask Andy?" And was like giving advice. And even like the cameraman, because ended up, I didn't have the very best seat in the house. I was like right behind the two giant cameras, but it was funny that, the camera operators, they were cracking up at certain things, and it just feels like everyone's having fun. And I've been on a lot of different sets where everyone's just like trying to just get it done, even on talk show sets. And this one, people were enjoying it. I think it helps that it's not, an hour long segment, but they're not hour long episodes, but they just were enjoying their time there, and it really says a lot about the environment that's set forth by everyone on that production team. So it really is just an enjoyable environment. That's one of the biggest things I took away from it, was that, truly.
And like it might not be like an hour long show, but they had to keep the energy up, and they were
Mhm.
filming a different episode before our episode. It was,
Yeah. They film, like,
when we
sometimes 3 in a day. Mhm.
yeah, when we arrived, they were finishing the previous show. I don't know which guest was that one, but we did see
Mhm.
people leaving the studio. They were saying like just keep it quiet for like the next 5 minutes, and wrapping up the episode before
Mhm.
you guys go inside for yours. So to me, that was really like something that tells a lot about the environment of these people work in, right?
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
they truly seem excited and happy to welcome people into the building,
Yeah.
you know and that's really hard to fake. I say that because I work in a very customer service environment. We have to
Mhm.
face people all the time, and sometimes it's really hard to keep a smiley face for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And
When your
pretty
brain is just thinking about other things, and
yes.
you're doing your grocery list in your head, and it's true. People can see straight through whether someone's got actual joy going on or not, and if they're having a really positive experience. And I really just felt like it was completely positive. I know that's not anything juicy to be like giving from behind the scenes, but it's also something that I think can be affirming for all of us who enjoy Bravo and enjoy watching Watch What Happens Live, that it is excuse me, that great of an environment.
Yes. So we went to watch what happened live, and then on Friday we
Mhm.
saw Chicago,
Yeah,
and that was absolutely amazing.
it was
For
so good.
for those who haven't had the chance, please come to New York City and watch it with Ariana, because I had seen Chicago many times with different people,
Mhm.
and when I say Ariana was born to play Roxie, I'm not exaggerating, because she had the right balance of quirky and funny and
Mhm.
sexy and talent. It's a balance that is needed for that specific character.
Yeah. I have an acting background, and I know it's like a dream for a lot of people to get to play either Roxy or Velma, but Roxy is a very difficult character to play, because if you don't have that really grounded, genuine emotional connection to the character, to everything, Roxy, who's already pretty, pretty vapid and shallow character, she comes off cheesy and corny if you don't do it just right. That's why someone like Renee Zellweger had to play her, double Oscar winner for the film. And Ariana was, and this isn't just us being like, oh, Ariana stands, like, we would find other things to say about it being wonderful if we didn't genuinely find her performance i- really amazing. Uh,
Yes.
she was crying on demand, which I know a lot of people think that it's easy for women to produce tears on demand. No, I from an acting background, if you don't have your emotion in there because you're trying to remember lines, you're trying to just and plus you have an 8 count that is for something like that you've got coming up right there. You've got the band or the symphony behind you, orchestra, whatever we're going to call it. You've got all of that going on, and then it was so physical. Like, I mean, you forget how much goes into it. I remember that moment when Velma is, trying to sell the two-woman show to Roxie, and I mean, I was exhausted watching her. But yeah, Ariana, there were so many like fun little moments that all of us who are her fans kind of felt like we got a nice little nod. Like when she was like, "Look, I'm in the paper," and the way she said it was just so like we felt like it was her saying, "Look, I'm on Broadway in Chicago." That's the way it felt. She had so many personal and emotional connections to things that really kept her character grounded, and she still was really fun and real with it. I thought she did so well.
That part, I love that part when she holds the newspaper up and said
Yeah.
Roxy rocks Chicago. And then
Mhm.
she looks back to the
Yeah.
audience and smiles. That smile to me, maybe because obviously I've been watching Vanderpump Rules and
Yeah.
we have been paying attention to the scandal and everything that transpired after that. I felt like that smile was not Roxy. I felt like
No,
that
that's what I'm
smile was
saying. Yeah.
Ariana saying
Yeah.
like I'm here, right?
Exactly.
So like I said before, she knew how to incorporate her life into the character and
Mhm.
bring this character to life is difficult, right? Um,
Yes.
we have seen many celebs try it. We have seen many people being invited to be Roxy because usually Roxy is the character that most people take on when it
A
comes to be a
celebrity.
guest, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But when I say she put her twist to it, that it
Mhm.
makes sense for the emotion that the character is trying to portray, I'm not exaggerating,
No,
right?
yeah.
Um, and it's an ensemble cast, like everybody needs to be connected, and she fits right in.
Yeah, and there was even that moment where it was being said like about the 15 minutes of fame, and you could tell she knew what that was. You could tell she understood. People are saying that about all of them regarding Scandival, especially her, and how everything changed for her in that regard. And she's sh Ariana's not someone that, in spite of what a lot of people think, that really is trying to quote unquote milk anything. She's taking opportunities that are given to her, and she is putting her heart and soul into them and treating them as though they are what they are, job opportunities that are part of what she's always wanted to do, because she has that musical theater background and it really showed. Truly, it did.
And that's why I always get annoyed as fuck with people
Yeah.
when they say, "Oh, I'm so tired." I'm like annoyed. She is being overexposed. I'm like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Because if that opportunities came your way, you will take him, right? This is
Yeah.
not about just that she was cheated on by somebody. It's what she made out of this because she
Yeah.
was given lemons and she's making lemonade. So don't be
Absolutely.
mad that life gave you lemons and you tossed them in the garbage and then you went home and cry about it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think it's that so many people are triggered by it. And I don't perceive Ariana as someone who would have gladly traded what she felt was her life partnership to be on Dancing with the Stars. I don't view now, would Sandoval have done that? That's a conversation for another day. But I don't believe Ariana would have genuinely wanted to do that because that's your entire life. Like they were happy and as far as she knew and comfortable. And as far as she knew, his new bar was going to eventually be successful. It's not like she didn't have other things going on already. She wasn't just sitting in a corner and this all of a sudden, like, oh, everyone only loves her because of this. The reason everyone loves her is because she's been the least problematic person, number one, on this show. She's been kind to every newcomer. She's not been, she hasn't had the mean girl mentality and she'd stick up
Mhm.
for everyone and stand up to anyone. So I think people just forget why everyone is like, yeah, we love Ariana.
And like this is just like a little piece of my input on the whole thing when it comes
Mm,
to Ariana being a kind person. The first Bravo lab that I spoke to on social media many years ago
mhm.
was Ariana.
Right.
And she was very responsive and she would comment on my stuff. She was on Twitter back in the days. Um, Most people who know my platform know that Twitter is like my bigger platform, right?
Mhm.
So she will comment, we will DM, we will talk. It was like over like 2 years of us not knowing each other in person,
Right.
but I can sense the kindness because she took the time to be like, you know what, I like your post, I appreciate
Mhm.
your comments. We started to talk about all the stuff after that. And then I remember BravoCon 2022, like about 2 weeks before BravoCon 2022, we were talking and I said to her, I better meet you in person because we've been talking for such a long time.
Yeah.
And it did happen. I met her at a private event and we sat there for hours and it felt like I knew her for the
Mhm.
longest time. It was authentic. She was listening, she was paying attention. She never made me feel like, oh, this guy's asking too many questions, or this guy's like, why he talking to me,
Yeah.
because some people with some celebrity status feel like, okay, like, okay, thank
Like they're
you,
too good. Yeah.
next.
Yeah.
But we sat down, she was the kindest person and she continues to be that, like, very down to earth person. We saw her after the show. We got to say hello
Yeah.
and say how much we appreciate the show and how great she did. And
Mhm.
she was very down to earth, not an ounce of like, I'm the star of the show. She was like,
Right.
oh my, I remember that one thing that she mentioned was making sure that we knew that the person who was doing the Velma part started with her. So she didn't
It
even
was it
make the
was her first night that
first
night.
night.
Yeah. Mhm.
Exactly. She make sure that we knew that because she know that it's a team,
Yeah.
force. A Broadway show is not a one person show. It's an
Right.
ensemble. So that's what I wish people knew about her. I wish
Mhm.
people stop talking like they know her when they do not. And when they make comments like, oh, she's so annoying, she's not the first woman who got cheated on. No, she's not the first one, and she won't be the last one. But it's
Yeah.
what you do with what life give you. So instead of being judgmental for what she's doing,
Mhm.
take that as an example. If that ever happens to you, don't go home and cry in your bed for days and let
Well,
life pass me
if you
by
need to, do that for a day or 2,
for a day
give
or
yourself
two.
that time. But yeah,
But
you can
but
do more.
remember, you can do more. Remember that you
Mhm.
can stand on your own ground and move forward. And
Yeah.
that is the beauty of this, of looking from the outside, meaning like us as viewers seeing her thrive, us as viewers seeing her getting all this endorsement, us as viewers seeing her being a star on Broadway, which is not easy to do.
No, no, and I actually ran into her at just very serendipitously at a bagel shop
I
on
remember that.
Thursday, and, she was in there with Daniel. And I just went up and said hi to her because, like I kept my phone in my back pocket. I wasn't going to be that person coming up, and I could tell she was probably tired and, all of that. But, I just said, hey, actually here to see you in Chicago. And, I said, but I don't want to interrupt you. Enjoy your bagel, all of that. And she stopped on the way back out and said, hi, or, it was so nice to meet you. See you tomorrow. And, she remembered me that from the day before when we were talking to her and she was saying to you, I'm talking to her after the show, saying to you, oh, I've been watching all your adventures and your Instagram stories. So, Yeah, I mean, she's the type of person that will remember who you are, and, yeah, can't say enough good things about her.
That's right. So we had a great time during Chicago. Then the next day, we decided to go on a brunch adventure,
Mhm.
which it was hysterical because first of all, you got lost trying to maneuver the subway.
I was literally I had the tears in my eyes, and I was like, "Caitlin, you cannot cry on the subway in New York. You can't do this. There's no crying on the subway in New York." And I got on the wrong train, and I'm, like, losing service, and I'm texting you, and I'm like, "Eddie, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. I don't know what to do. I'm such an idiot. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god." I finally made it. I
I
just
was
felt like once I was lost, I was completely screwed.
I was waiting for Caitlin, and I texted like, "How long you have before you get to the West Village? Because if you're gonna take more than 30 minutes, I'm gonna walk into this men's spa and get a back massage."
Yeah. Well, when you text me that, I was like, "Oh, I'm less than 10 minutes." And then I was like, "I'm not less than 10 minutes anymore." So
Well, we had an amazing brunch. We got to record some content. We're still not sure what's happening
yeah, I know
because
Eddie's on my ass about it because, the microphone that we used didn't turn on or
work.
something. And all you can hear and so, like, with this microphone, if you when you have it clipped on you, if you talk too loud, then the sound's really awful and it's, like, way too much. So I was talking at a volume for a microphone being clipped to my lapel, and Eddie was too, and so, I mean, it's I'm still trying to salvage it. It's not
It was so funny, yo. Like I
Yeah.
was cracking up in between takes because I'm not an actor and I'm really bad at following um a script. Like
Yeah.
I usually like try to like say whatever comes to my mind in the moment. So like in between takes we were cracking up. So I'm hoping to at least get to see the daylight one day. Um but
Yeah.
that was fun. We were walking around and this is the funniest part because I'm not wearing my contact that day
Yeah.
because I need to get my new prescription. So
Uh-huh.
um we're walking around and I saw what it looks like a man and a kid. Like it was like a blur
Yeah.
to my eyesight. I'm telling you, to my eyesight, it was just a blur because it was so far. And I don't know how my brain said like, "Hey, it's like Kaylin, isn't it that Andy Cohen?" And
And we
Kaylin's
had
like,
just kind of passed by him, and we were just chit-chatting away, so it was just suddenly like, was that An and I'm oh my god, it was Andy and little
"Yeah."
Ben.
I was like, I don't know how. I it was crazy because to me it was just like a blur. There
Yeah.
was no face. There was no face. There was just like this like gray little like hair, and then like just I don't know. It was weird. And I asked Caitlin because obviously she has eyesight.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
wasn't
she
paying
can
I was
see.
yeah, I wasn't paying
She
as
can
close
actually
attention.
see.
I was just, like,
And I,
chit-chatting, but it suddenly was like, "Oh my god," and we whipped around,
yeah,
and we were like, "Holy shit," it was Andy and Ben. We wouldn't have even if we'd seen him, like, and noticed it sooner, we wouldn't have gone up since he was with Ben.
yeah, no.
If he hadn't been with Ben, we would have turned our asses around and been like, "Daddy."
Well, an advice to you guys that are listening, is I know that you know most people get extremely excited when they see people that they admire or they watch on TV. But my
Right.
best advice to actually make real connection with these people is just to let them live their lives.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you see them with their kids, it's not a good
Mhm.
time to say hello. They are with their kids. It's not the time to ask them how they're doing
No.
or anything about it because they are so focused in living the moment with their kids because they are so busy the rest of the week.
Yeah.
So my advice to you guys, if you ever see the celebrity you love, it might be the only time you ever see them in your life, but if they are with their kids,
Yeah.
let them be.
Yeah,
Respect
just
that
commit it to
moment.
memory and be excited
That's
to tell
right.
people who you saw. Don't whip out your phone and take a picture of it. It's
No,
just like
no.
there,
Big
I'm a
no.
yeah, I'm a mom of a toddler and I know that if I had my son walking by me in the street, my eyes are gonna be down on him and then only scanning for threats, especially with how busy it is there and everything. So, there's a certain amount of respect. And also, just like when I went up to Ariana, you don't need to get a picture with someone for everything. There are appropriate moments for that. And,
That's
something
right.
like where she's just trying to have breakfast with her boyfriend, that was not a moment, you know?
So sometimes it's better that the story is like a good memory that you laugh about it,
Exactly.
like and like it's like a fun thing that you tell to your friend, like, oh my gosh, I was walking around without
Yeah.
my contacts, and for some reason I I look in the horizon and I saw this man from like a mile away, and I say, oh, that's Andy Cohen, without having my contacts
Yeah.
in. So that's the funny part, but you don't like harass them when they have their kids. That to me
No.
is like a big no. And like if you see them out and you know that, especially people who are on TV, on the media, they are very conscious how they are portrayed on social media
Yeah.
sometimes. Like not everybody is that way, but a lot of people are. And
Yeah.
it's okay because they are a public figure. They need to like, have some kind of like, image out there. So
Yeah.
if you see them that they look like they just woke up and they haven't showered,
Leave him
and
alone.
probably yeah, they probably are trying to like rush home and shower, and you're stopping them to take a photo. That is a little crossing the line. Like, know
It's
your moments.
invasive.
Know your
Yeah,
moments. Leave
exactly.
them, and just keep that as a memory.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, you don't need picture of everything. Sometimes it's better to have a story to tell than
Mhm.
having to like just ruin the opportunity. Maybe in the future you meet them again and they're gonna feel like, oh shit, here they
Here's
come
that
again.
weirdo. Oh god, not this girl again, not this guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's remember that they are people too. Like I always wonder, like I hope people think about these Bravo Labs or like Andy or like anyone that they like find, iconic in their mind. Like remember that they are also people. If I'm walking around and I look like I just woke up, the last thing I want is somebody taking my photo. And I'm just talking in any situation. If I'm with a friend and I know I'm like not in my best like look that day,
Yeah.
I'm like, please don't take a photo. Please don't take a photo. So that's how I go about meeting these people, right?
Yeah.
Or like giving them their space. That's just an advice. Hopefully you take it.
You're gonna do what you wanna do, though.
Yeah. So that was our very, very, very successful week for us.
Yes, it was eventful. We were pretty exhausted by the end of it. We
Yeah,
were
we
just kind
tried.
of like,
Yeah, we were trying to go out and do the whole wow thing in New York City, but yeah, we didn't get to that part.
"No." We were done. We were just like, "You know what? We'll get our beauty rest at this
Mm,
point."
yeah, and
Mhm.
like I wish you were here for Super Bowl Sunday because that
Mm.
night Cal Cook had a party and
Yeah.
everybody from Summer House was there, and I wanted to go. But at the same time, I was like home with my family, and I was like, if you were here,
Oh,
I
we
would have
would
been
have
like,
gone.
I would have dragged myself out of the house and go.
We would
Uh,
have been we would have been duds, I'm afraid, though. We were completely wiped out, and it takes a lot to wipe us out. I think it was just all the high energy things we were doing.
yeah.
I don't know. We were just like,
It felt like BravoCon in some kind of way where you are like excited to do things, but at the same time you're like, I
Yeah.
just want this to be over.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm having so much fun, but I am ready to be done at the same time. Yeah, that's
Oh my
exactly the way I
gosh.
describe it too.
Oh my gosh. Talking about stuff that we are excited and we're not sure, how you feel about Portia coming back to Atlanta? We just got that news just now.
I'm thrilled. We need something going on there. Atlanta used to be the just pinnacle of Housewives, and they really dropped off. And I think it was due to some bad casting. Drew and Sonia, and also Marlo. She needed to stay friend of. I think that she's ready to bring it. She's just ready to be like, hey. All
I'm
right,
excited.
I'm back, honey.
I agree with you. I feel like Atlanta was missing pieces that makes
Yeah.
Atlanta what Atlanta really is. And Portia is a very important part of the cast. And you can tell that some of the cast members from the past truly held that franchise to the
Mhm.
to where it is, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, new casting, it changed the vibe of the show. Some of the cast members were not necessarily made for Atlanta.
No.
For example, Sonia, I like her as a person. She's a very
Yeah.
accomplished woman,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So I do see the potential, but I don't think she was made for Real Housewife of Atlanta. She's the kind
No.
of person that maybe is maybe for her own show, something else. But the energy that Atlanta is known for was
Mhm.
missing, especially for
Yeah.
the last few seasons. And that last season was a hot mess, like a hot mess from beginning to the end. It was hard to watch.
Yeah, I think it was I think what made it so hard to watch too was our nostalgia for what it could be. I think no matter what, they need to keep Kenya. I think Kenya, people are always very divided on Kenya. They feel very particular one way or another. But once you start looking at Kenya for who she rarely comes for anyone unless they come for her first. And
Hmm.
it really her fault if she's that good at coming back? I mean, I'm sorry, but like you don't want any smoke. Don't bring the
You
fire.
want that's right. If it,
And with
you,
Candy leaving, I think that left room in the budget for bringing someone like Portia back. Am I sad Candy's leaving? Yes. Do I think that Candy has other things she probably should just focus on instead? Yes. She has two little kids too. And she has a daughter that's in college. And how many successful businesses and careers she's going for that EGOT. And it's going to be hard to keep going for that EGOT in that same way when you're distracted by having to go film in Jamaica, film here, film there, because she also had to leave so much.
hmm.
So, the other thing is when it comes to like Sheree, I mean, watching her on Traders, I don't even think Sheree knows why she's there. I don't. I think she's like, is this a cast trip? I mean, she's just so it's bizarre seeing that side of her where she's just completely
I still wonder if she knows what she signed up for.
no.
I'm just waiting for that moment that she realizes, like, oh, wait a minute,
Yeah.
that's what I'm here for. Okay, it's episode 20, but I'm here now.
It's Phaedra that's been keeping her alive.
Mm. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Phaedra is asked back to Atlanta now that Porsche is back. It kind of makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah, it does. With because Candy was never gonna film with Phaedra again, as we know. And so I I mean, my ultimate is to get Nene back. And I'm telling you, I think we're gonna get her for a girls' trip first. I think the network wants to test out exactly how that relationship is going to be prepared. Blah. Sorry,
Prepare.
I'm a little out of it. um, God, repaired, and I think they wanna see how well she's gonna play. Uh, you know, I singing Portia with I don't know what they're gonna do about Marlo, but Kenya already said, "Hey, I think we made great TV together," and Kenya already made it clear she was open to having Portia come back. So,
Mhm.
and then who am I forgetting that
Actually, Kenya commented on Portia's post. She's saying like, "Let's go, season 16." So, I mean,
Hey,
that's what a good housewife does. They
yes.
know that they need an antagonist to thrive. They know
Yeah.
that they're gonna have problem, but they know that that's what makes the show move forward.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that I mean, we all like. I mean, I like a cast with an antagonist and somebody you like and somebody that's
Mhm.
their antagonist. But I also wanted to get along and have fun,
Mhm.
right? And
Yes.
I do think that that's the kind of energy that Portia and Kenny have. Like
Yeah.
they might not like each other on the show. They
Mhm.
might have issues on the show, but you had never felt like they hated each other to the point that they will never film with each other. You know what I'm saying?
There was only,
So,
that one, infamous
oh yeah,
season, but,
that
you
yeah,
know, it's
that
there's
one
something
reunion.
yeah, hard to forget. There's something so exciting about seeing the women who have issues with each other have a fun moment together, like you were saying. Another good example is, on Salt Lake City when Angie and Meredith, when they were in Bermuda, cheers saying, well, at least it's not us fighting. And
That
we
moment,
love that.
iconic. Yeah, that
Yes,
moment
we
was so
love
iconic.
that because it shows they all have a sense of humor at the end of the day, and like they're not taking themselves quite as seriously as we
Hmm.
think they must be. And that's what I find enjoyable too. I always say there's drama in the resolution as well as
Hmm.
there is drama in the conflict. So,
Correct.
yeah.
It's like Beverly Hills too as well. Like we know the Garcelle and Son have had issues with Erica for the
Right.
longest time.
Yeah.
And we had seen them in on this season have so many great moments, so
Yes.
many fun moments, and we're gonna talk about Housewife and the Hustler just in a little bit, just for 1 second, because I'm not gonna excuse Erica's behavior, but what I'm gonna say is like at least on this show this season, I have seen a little bit of the fun side of her when
Yeah.
she is with the cast,
Yeah.
because in the past it was hard to watch because the issues were so obvious that
Mhm.
that they were not having fun. But on
Yeah.
this season, they seem to be like, you know what? Let's have a good time. Let's enjoy
Yeah.
our moment together. Let's film a show. Let's give a show, but also understand that, I mean, it's just entertainment.
Yeah.
And like that scene when they went out one night, Garcelle, Sutton, and Eric, and they got super drunk one
Yeah.
night, and they were talking. That's when Sutton reveals to the table that she made out with the
The Uber
drivers
driver.
something, and
Yeah.
then you see them like hanging out in that little bus in Barcelona when they're going to the
Yeah.
hotel, saying like Erica knew Sutton more than Garcelle, and we
How
were like,
wild was that?
right? So like all those little moments have made this season
Mhm.
so much better and so entertaining. I know a lot of people are saying that this season sucks because there's no big fight, because Reyna is not on it, and I'm like, yes, but you cannot expect every season to be a dark cloud, and that's how season 12 and 11 were, a
Yeah, I
big
think
cloud.
I think part of what's hard about this season is it's more so that it's very somber. And that's just because their real life circumstances have
Hmm.
been, there's been some painful stuff, especially for Kyle, because Kyle is, what Carlos King refers to as the force multiplier. She's center diamond. She's what brings everyone together. And her life has shifted so drastically. I really feel like Sutton and Garcelle, though, are kind of coming together toward being a double force multiplier, if that makes sense, though,
Hmm.
because they're
Yes.
able to really segue with everyone, even Anne Marie. Um, and, they, for the most part, get along with everyone at this point. At this point.
How do you feel about Emery? Do we all feel the same way? Do we all feel the same way? It's like a
Yeah.
mutual feeling? Okay, yeah. I just wanted to make sure.
She, I think it's that Anne Marie is the type of person, and it's also a personality thing for me.
Hmm.
Um, she latches on to something and she does not let it go. Like,
Let the
I
mouse
mean,
go. Let the mouse go.
yes, I mean, you've had your fun, let the mouse go. But like it's at this point where and it's not even just the oh my god, I can't again, I still don't understand how we are talking about an esophageal issue on Beverly Hills, but it's not even just the esophagus thing. It's just she sets her mind on something and that 8.5 goes for it at a 10. And
Hmm.
it's like just move on to something else. It's like I feel like she had certain things so planned before scenes that she couldn't pivot. And
Hmm.
ironically enough, that's actors who get too set in how a scene is going to go and they go into the scene and if the scene with their partner goes a different way, they completely flounder and they just can't They can't get it together. That's how I view Anne Marie. She plans things, and then when it doesn't go the way she expects, she loses it. Like calling Crystal a hormonal teenager when Crystal, of course, was firing back at her accusations of what she claims Crystal said to her. Do I
Mhm.
doubt that Crystal may have said something along those lines to Anne Marie? No, I do not. Actually, I actually think Crystal probably said something like that, but I don't think she went in the depth that Anne Marie said she did regarding these women not being socialites like her. I don't think Crystal would call herself a socialite.
Mm.
Crystal doesn't Crystal doesn't take her how do I put this? It's like Crystal takes herself too seriously yet not seriously enough to say
Mhm.
something like that. So it's both.
Yes.
But, I just
If if they told me if they told me Sutton call herself a socialite, I would say yes because she
yeah.
has many times on the show because she is a socialite.
Yeah.
But Crystal is also on the age of like she just turned out 40 just now. Like she's
Yeah.
young
She's
compared to
very
the
young.
other
Yeah.
cast. You know, she's like the
Yeah.
youngest of the cast. A
Yeah.
young person in on 2024 does not call themselves
A socialite.
socialite, even if you're an actual socialite.
That's very early 2000s.
That's way early 2000. That's like Paris Hilton when she was like 15 escaping to the clubs.
Yeah, right? It's not a thing anymore.
No.
I do I think she said, "Yeah, I am more social than they are." Yes, I think that's what she said, but I also think maybe 'cause they showed her saying on camera, like, "Are these the most secondary educated women?" No, but, she has talked down to them about their the type of vocabulary they have and things like that, but I also think that's Crystal's way of that's her defense mechanism is to try and be like, "No, wait, I am smart. You're like, what are you not smart?" type of thing, and I think that's just her defense mechanism.
I also feel like when it comes to Crystal, especially Kyle, I think, has made her feel like she's not smart because she's young.
Yeah,
Many
they've
times she has made
they've
that
given her
comment
that
where
treatment.
where they try to make her feel like she can speak on a topic or her
Mhm.
opinion is not as mature just because she's younger.
Right.
So I mean, she has to find a way to say, like, you know what? You might think that I'm young, but maybe I'm more educated than you are.
Yeah. I think that it's good Crystal is finding her voice.
Yeah.
And, the irony that the women bitch about her not doing enough and saying enough, and then they mock her for using her voice finally, um, the irony of it's not lost on me. But, I think Crystal is a good addition, and I feel like a lot of people don't give her enough credit. I think she can be the voice of the audience a lot of times, because you do have to have one housewife that can be that way. And I think it's important to have that grounding character in there. But I'm interested to see how the reunion goes. I really hope it is not going to be just Crystal and Anne Marie going back and forth, where Anne Marie tries to diminish Crystal's points by essentially calling her immature and a hormonal teenager,
Hmm.
because I think Crystal had hit her breaking point with Anne Marie already. And it was like she thought she was in a safe space. And then Anne Marie's like, "Yeah, well, you told them, or you told me this about them, and blah, 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 blah." And then she's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Now you want to go again? Come on."
I love that you gave Emery a sort of British accent.
Well, Anne Marie kind of talks like this. And, he says I'm like a solid 8.5. My voice
Oh
is
my
so
god.
off today. I can't.
I was gonna say one thing. Reunion wise, I do think that Crystal's gonna come hard for Dorit because that comment about her
The
being a
child
child
bride.
bride,
Ooh,
that is,
girl.
especially culture wise, came out
It is
really tone
so
deaf.
ignorant.
Mm.
Dorit, this you can't play child of the world and then
And ignorant at the same
ignorant.
time. Yes. I've been saying that for a long time. Nobody gets my point, but I'm happy that you do.
Yeah. It doesn't work that way. You can't I hate to quote Bethany Frankel, good God, but you can't play smart and dumb at the same time. It doesn't work
Hmm.
in that sense. I think Dorit, every bit of progress she's tried to make with Garcelle is, I'm sorry, but it feels like Dorit just trying not to get canceled.
No, exactly. I always felt like her interaction with Garcelle with that apology, where I was like a little for the show, because
Yeah,
the problem with Dorit is that she is a repetitive, um, uh, like she has done this several
repeat
times.
offender.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
what I was looking for.
Yeah.
She has done this many times where people has told her like, you don't say that, Dorit. When she said that her kids are exposed to culture because everybody in her house is like, brown skin. And like,
Everyone who's an employee of hers.
yeah, and like,
Yeah. And there's
just
something Dorit does whenever she thinks whenever like she's trying to come off like she's being a good listener and like, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. I grew up this way. And I was heartbroken hearing the things she experienced in her childhood, and
mhm.
I don't doubt that. I'm not dismissing, what she did share. I wish she had shared that sooner, especially in light of all of the anti Semitism toward the Jewish community. I think she could use her platform more, but I also understand if there's fear after what she went through with this break in and having little kids and all of that. So I'm not knocking that. But there's also this smirk that she gets. And I think you know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Whenever she thinks she's winning or she wants someone to think she's being empathetic or sympathetic. And it's this little kind of, and she does it in confessional, she does it in the scenes with the ladies, and it's like you can see that she's watching herself on camera. Does that make sense?
I do. One thing that I don't like about Dorit, I appreciate that she shared her story about anti-Semitism growing up and
Mhm,
how she was treated differently because she was a Jewish, girl,
mhm.
right?
Yeah,
My main issue with that, though, is that it didn't come in a form that I'm sharing my experience for you guys to get to know me.
yeah,
Is I'm sharing my experience so we can equate our struggles,
yeah,
and that to me it's problematic for one reason. The experience of a black woman
yeah,
will never be the same as a Jewish woman because the Jewish woman still white passing to society.
yeah,
That's a whole different story, right?
mhm,
For example, I will never equate my experience as an immigrant
mhm.
to experience of an immigrant from like, I don't know, like Dominican Republic or
Right.
of an African country, because even though we are all immigrant, my skin complexion and my country of birth, this is different,
Different
so
perceptions, different
perception.
prejudices that people
Exactly.
experience.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So
I
like,
fully
yeah,
hear you.
we all have some kind of like, you know, experience with racism and prejudice people, because
Mhm.
it's hard because I do believe that racism is somehow a big part of society. I mean, it's part of history. And
Yeah.
even though it's not like people are trying to be racist, but a lot of times just come off because it's so inherent in our culture. But like the point will be to learn from that and
Yeah.
to listen. And I do believe that Dorit hasn't done the proper work to listen and learn. You know?
She won't allow herself to be uncomfortable because you know what? Even if you are merely white passing or you are a white person of privilege or what have you, you are going to have a moment where you have to go ahead and just be uncomfortable for a second because especially, someone who's grown up in the US, excuse me, I'm so sorry. I grew up in Oklahoma. So you can imagine the prejudices that were around me and having to go ahead and be uncomfortable with having that conversation with myself about the times that I didn't stand up for someone and I should have, or when I was younger, and the things that we it you have to let yourself be uncomfortable is my point. If you are someone coming from a place of privilege, and Dorit, while you have experienced some severe prejudice that I would never wish upon anyone, I think you need to recognize that you come from a place of privilege and not just say that out loud as a way to be like, "Look, I'm woke." No, really truly recognize it because it is uncomfortable sometimes when you have to face that, "Oh, I'm privileged and not everyone gets to experience life this way." And sometimes I need to face the fact that people don't always have things as easily as I do.
Mhm.
And, it can be that it comes from a place that you want things to be good for everyone. It doesn't mean it always has to be negative. But the point being, it ain't the same, sweetheart.
Mhm.
It's just not.
I mean, I that post that she made before about her bubble, what's it called? The
Yeah, being in
bubble.
a bubble.
I'm
Oh,
like,
that was knowing the next episodes that were coming out. Oh,
hmm.
girl. Girl,
So
girl,
it is
girl.
like somebody needs to see her and be like, you know what, Dory, that's not gonna fly because instead of looking like somebody who's listening and learning, you just look very like trapped in a bubble.
Yeah, it looked combative and it looked like she was digging her heels into her previous behavior instead
That's
of
right.
what she claimed at the end of, I think, the next episode, that she was learning and growing, which if she hadn't put that post up, maybe I would have believed her a little bit more.
And let's not forget that these episodes were filmed last year. So
Mhm.
she knew what was coming, she knew what was happening. So it's once again her being a little combative.
Mhm. Mhm.
So we talk about Beverly Hills a little bit. I want to ask you: do you watch the Housewife and the Hustler Part Two?
I have not had a chance to watch it. I
Well,
I have been I didn't even finish watching the Super Bowl. I was yeah, I got hit with whatever this is. Um, I've seen some of the clips, some of them.
yes. I'm not gonna spoil it for you because there's a lot of information on on the documentary that is important for the story.
Mm,
But if you have watched the first one, you kind of have an idea of what it's all about. The only different this time do we hear the side of a designer, Marco, who's a team of designer who are very popular with like the pop girls and
mhm,
Britney, Christina, Rihanna, Lady Gaga they are very popular with them, and Erica Jane started using them for her show. So we get to
mhm,
know about that and how that played out. He
hmm.
actually is mentioned on last season's Beverly Hills when
Okay.
they were playing that like two truth and a lie, and Erica Jane said that one of her truths was that she was wired for a case. She was like wired for like an investigation. Well,
Mhm.
you will learn what case that was on this documentary,
Oh my
which I
god.
think is bizarre that you are sharing that on national TV, knowing that you are in such legal troubles. Um, at the same time, I'm pretty sure you saw the trailer. She sits down with victims. I want you to watch it and tell me how you feel about it. Maybe after you watch it, text me how you feel. I'm gonna tell you how I feel. I feel like um, she still think of herself as the bigger victim of this whole thing.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
my take on this. This is my perspective and how I read her energy.
She
Because
was not emotional at all. I mean, it was Ice Queen, blank, from the preview of that I saw.
pretty much. But my point being is like I understand that she's trying to fix her image on the show, but when you have the opportunity to truly showcase that you are changing, that
Mm,
you are doing something, right? And it seems very performative
mm.
and once again disconnected with reality, then I don't believe the changes. I don't
That
believe
yeah.
that the intention is really to help those who were, scammed by
Right.
her husband.
Majority
And people
keys.
and people need to stop thinking about Tom as like her ex-husband because they still legally married. So
Well, yeah, they're definitely not together. It's hard because I have always loved Erica Jane. Like, when I tell you, there were multiple Halloweens I wanted to dress up as her, and everyone told me, "No one's gonna get who you are." And so I didn't. And I loved her. And I was really hopeful seeing the change in her so far this season. But when she was really upset that the women weren't so celebratory of the earrings when she brought that up on the trip, and then seeing this very robotic uh, conversation. I I don't know if Erica's form of being supportive and empathetic, if the way she shows up as that is to be, "I am here for you. No, I don't know the victims well, but trying to make it seem like it's not about her, I don't know. I'm trying to
mhm.
understand why, and it's frustrating. Last season she did herself zero favors with the things she said, the behavior. I'm just really, yeah, I'm hopeful. While I'm hopeful, I'm pretty aware of how she comes off in this part too, unfortunately.
One thing that I think is ridiculous, to be honest, is the fact that she is expecting the other ladies from the show to apologize to her because for what they said before. I think that's just beyond ridiculous because Erica, they're asking you about a public case.
Yeah.
They're not going behind your back trying to find gossip about your life. What they were
Right.
asking you about was on the papers, was on the
Yeah.
news. It was popping every 5 seconds on our phones. My notifications during the Erica Jane whole thing were
Yeah.
blowing up like crazy. So
Yeah.
if I was in their position, I would be asking questions too for two reasons. I'm
Mhm.
working with somebody who's been investigated.
Yeah.
And I want to know how that's gonna involve me as a person in this whole thing. Because no matter what, you are in the mix. That you're filming with this person. They
Yeah.
see you going to their house. They see you talking to them about money. I mean, somehow the eyes are gonna turn to you. So you need to ask those questions too. And the best way to do it is on the show because that's part of the job
And production's gonna tell you to do that.
to do it. Exactly. So uh, and they kept showing on the documentary that clip of Garcelle telling her like, why don't you just give your earrings back? Why don't you just let it go? Like, just let them sell those earrings so they can pay the victims or go to the people that needs to go to. And she keeps fighting over those earrings.
Yeah.
And to me, that it's what truly bothered me about Erica Jane. The fact that she's been fighting over these earrings. Like, people are saying, but you don't know if those earrings were bought by Girardi with his money. I'm like, who cares?
It doesn't
Who
matter.
cares? The
Do something to
guy
help.
the guy was using this victim's money for whatever reason to pay for Erica's, karaoke show. Because let's be
Yeah.
honest, she had the talent of a rock, but he had so much money that he got her the best producer, the best designer for her shows, and and that's all good and hunky dory until we find out that all that money that he used for that was from people who lost families and lost their health, and they needed that money that he was
Yeah.
supposed to give that to them. So I mean, it to me it baffles me. To me, it baffles me how somebody had the opportunity to be the hero of the story and he dropped the ball so hard because the most important part of this whole thing is keeping those goddamn diamond earrings. Like, how disconnected can you be?
Yeah, it's tough. I think there was a whole thing of it seeming like she was admitting guilt if she did something like that. Also, I don't know if they were technically hers to give away, which I think it would have been nice if she just simply explained that if that's the case. It was just the way
Yeah.
she was so combative about it because I think a lot of us would have understood if she just explained maybe that. I don't think we would have been like, "What the fuck, Erica?" Like, I think if she had because she, she'd been living with an attorney for how long, and I think she thought she was on some episode of Law& and Order of just, like, shut up and don't say anything, but it was not working to her favor, to say the least.
Whew. Yeah, it's I feel like we've been talking about this case for the past like what, 3, 4 years now.
At least
Almost,
2
yeah, almost,
years.
yeah, 3 years in a few months because it happened in in October 2020. She filed for divorce in November 2020. So
Mhm.
it's been quite a long time that we've been like listening about it, and I still feel like there is no resolution and there is not true um accountability because yeah, people need to understand one thing. When I talk about Erica Jane, I'm not blaming her for the scam because
No.
I'm not saying that she was at home like I'm gonna
N
steal the money from these
Yeah.
people like
No.
like the evil
Right.
witch in on a Disney movie. No, I'm not
Right.
saying that. What I'm saying is like when you find out that there is some discrepancies in the money that you were using to fund your lifestyle didn't belong to you, do the humane thing, do the right thing. And people are like, yeah, she's doing it because the court, whatever. Like sometimes it's okay to show sympathy. People need to understand that
Yeah.
sympathy doesn't mean taking guilt
Admission
or
of
like
guilt. Mhm.
exactly in a situation. It's just being a decent human being.
Right.
And that's where most people, including myself, struggle to give Erica that empathy or any form of like grace
Yeah.
because
She wasn't giving
I
any herself, yeah.
any exactly.
No,
So
I
now that
agree.
she's asking for people to like apologize, I'm like,
Right.
come on, girl, you
Like,
go apologize and do some work and get them some money for those victims. You do it.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's one of those things that it's so complicated that I don't fully grasp all of it,
Mhm.
and so that's why I tend to just kind of be like, oh, no. I don't know how someone gets away with doing what he and w that all of them did at Girardi Keys because it wasn't I don't Tom Girardi couldn't have done this all by himself. So it's such an immensely complicated thing that because I mean, I wonder how people end up seeing their money after they win settlements and things like that. Like, it's supposed to go through your attorney. That's scary enough to me.
I know. Let's play a quick game before you go. It's gonna be like a
Okay.
one word thing because there's so many Bravo shows that are coming and Bravo shows that are ending. So I want to know your quick take in one word. How you feel about Winter House being canceled?
Meh. I'm
Meh.
okay. Season 2 was good. That was it.
Uh, yeah, I'm kind of sad. I'm a big fan of the houses. Summer House coming back next month. This month actually.
Thrilled.
Excited. Same. Uh, how do you feel about Southern Hospitality season 2? Yeah, it's about to end 2 days. In 2 days.
Explosive.
So good.
Mhm.
And I'm happy that they got a reunion. They deserve it so much.
Yes. Yes, they brought it, honey. They brought
Oh,
it.
they gave us everything and more, but that's for
Yeah.
sure. Um, how you feel about Beverly Hills this season?
Meh, meh. That's not a word, is it? I okay, up and down. That's several words.
I loved it. Let's see. The bend upon rules.
Trepidatious. Not
Yeah,
sure.
I'm struggling a little bit. I'm struggling a little
We
bit. I
knew it
mean,
was gonna be this way, though.
but I don't think it's bad. I don't think people are saying that it's bad. I don't think it's bad. It's just the beginning
No.
and it needs to develop. But I think people were expecting Scandal 2.0, like
Yeah,
explosive from the beginning. Like people need to move on. People need to move on with their lives.
I predict
Um,
season 12 will be the last, though.
12 was last season, right?
No, this is season 11 right now. Next season will
Oh,
be
you
12.
predict 12. Okay. It could be. I mean, how do you feel about this whole Jack's new show spinoff that is premiering this year?
I am hearing it's fantastic that the network is already they're like green lighting season 2. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think.
I
I'm not into adulting. I'm already adulting every goddamn day of my life. I need to see someone else who's not adulting the same way I am.
uh-huh.
But I mean, be interesting.
I I'm kind of conflicted with it because even though I'm very curious about it, um, the cast have some of the cast members have had like some past problematic issues, and I don't think that they have done the work to showcase that they are changing their minds and their point of views and stuff in life. Uh, but that's just my perspective. But I'm conflicted.
Yeah.
Am I gonna watch it? Most likely
Oh,
because
hell
like
yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I
it's a
wanna
Broadway
see.
show. Uh,
Well, I'm gonna wait and see what happens with it. I'm before I yeah.
and last but not least, Salt Lake City started filming the rumors and nastiness that I heard.
Rumors,
Rumors
the
and
nastiness.
nastiness that I heard is that Monica is not coming back. How do you feel about that?
Oh, yeah, she's definitely on pause. I am you're gonna yeah, I'm disappointed because here's the thing. Without Reality Von Teese, I found Monica very interesting to watch. Could she drive you freaking nuts sometimes when she would argue like a teenage asshole? Yes. But I found her very interesting. I felt like she was ready to go. And while, yes, we want aspirational women, I didn't hate watching her cry over buying a Louis Vuitton bag, and then when I'm seeing that you bought a white leather one, oh my god, that's like, ugh, that's gonna be ruined immediately. You can't sell that on Poshmark immediately, my god. I really related to that, she's not she doesn't have like, it's not like she is lower class in the tax bracket, I is what I'm saying. She's, at the very least above middle class, clearly. Even if her Range Rover's in a carport, it doesn't matter. There are plenty of people who don't have Range Rovers in any carport. So, that being said, I'm kind of disappointed. I'm also disappointed she didn't come into that reunion more contrite, and if she hadn't come in thinking she was gonna have some sort of iconic moment, I think there would have been a chance, but what do you think?
Yeah, I don't care much for Monica, to be honest.
I know you don't, yeah.
I I had no problem with her, but I do have a problem with the fact that um, she was behind a troll account. I do have an issue with that. I
Yeah,
do
we
find that
know
annoying
those anonymous
because
accounts are really obnoxious, honest to God.
nauseous,
We've dealt with so
and
many of them. It
and that's
just
why I feel the way that I feel because I'm pretty sure you and I have dealt with troll accounts on a
yeah.
daily. Yeah, it's not on the same level of a housewife, but we do have them. So I can only imagine how a troll account affects the life of these women outside the show, and also the fact that um, there seem to be too many discrepancies in her story.
Yeah,
Like,
there's one thing I wanna
stuff.
make a point before I forget. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. But there has been a long running issue with troll accounts on Salt Lake City. Why didn't these women crucify Angie H and her husband more for her and Criss, her husband, took the fall for her starting that account. Let's be absolutely real here, okay?
I was annoyed with the whole thing. I was not okay with that either, and I think it was quite. I think Meredith laughed it off sitting next to them, but then she kind of
She was
like,
uncomfortable, but
yeah, she is, oh, yeah, because she know how to react to that, right?
right.
Um,
No, I agree. Like, that's one of
I
those things in the moment that you're like, "Oh my
I
god, why didn't I stand up to someone?" But it's like,
yes,
ugh.
but as a viewer, I was not very happy with it. Once again, because I do believe that like creating this type of stuff to get on a show, to me, it's not the way that these housewives were meant to be in the first place. And
No.
yes, at one point, a lot of people who are, uh, account holders and stuff like that are gonna have their chance to be on a Bravo show. That is gonna be inevitable because it's so part of our culture. but it's also the way that you go over it. If you created an account to specifically troll this
Yeah.
cast, it seems and the fact that she was trying to make it seem like she was the gossip girl of Salt Lake City. I'm like, please, no, no,
Well,
no, no, no.
to be fair, she was truly going after Jen. Now, part of the problem is when she started the Reality Vontees Twitter account, she then was trolling the women, and she only had a few posts where they trolled the women. And I think it's because the other women, I should say, I think it's because they were like, oh, well, there needs to be some sort of a balance in how hard they're going after Jen. But I don't think anyone would have been quite so angry if she had only gone after Jen and if she hadn't been tagging every goddamn account on the planet.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I because I can I understand being a disgruntled employee? Yes. Can I understand going to that extent? No, but I can certainly talk a lot of shit otherwise.
Oh my gosh. Actually, last one, Miami. I almost forgot about Miami.
Mm,
How you feel about it?
I love it. I I want I think Kiki deserves a lot more recognition than she gets.
I agree, 100%.
Mhm.
100%. That's my take on this season too. The season is great. I'm kind of sad that people are not really watching it
Yeah.
on Bravo, but I do think that it's being watched on streaming on
On
Peacock the
Peacock,
next day or
yeah.
whatever. Which
Mhm.
I still believe they should have stayed on Peacock. I don't think
I agree.
Bravo does Miami the favor that they deserve. They I said it from the beginning and I keep saying it. Bravo already have many shows that they need to focus on
Mhm.
that are their crown jewels.
Yeah.
We have Atlanta, we have New Jersey, we have New York, we have Beverly Hills, right?
Salt
And
Lake
then
City.
Potomac, Salt Lake
Yeah.
City, which by the way, Potomac is having one of the worst season
I know.
I ever watched. It's unwatchable, and I actually haven't watched it. I think the last two episodes. Like I don't even know what's happening
Same.
anymore.
I
Um,
don't either.
and I'm sad because I love Potomac. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite like cast as a whole, but for some reason this season is just unwatchable.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
but
painful.
Miami is an excellent cast, an excellent group of ladies. They have drama. They know when to stop being dramatic and get together as friends because they do have that story together. I mean, they still
Mhm.
really good friends outside of the show. So I said it before, and I'm gonna stand by it, and I think I'm right. When they announced that they were taking Miami back to Bravo, I said this is the worst idea on the planet because it's
Mhm.
going to put the show back where it was when it first came out, as like a secondary show, like
Mhm.
the adopted child, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's the only show that has been moved around for
Mhm.
other people. Like they put it at one night at 10 p.m. because they want to watch what happened live to be after Beverly Hills.
Yeah, they don't
They
yeah. Yeah.
they are going to move an episode so they can premiere Erica Jane's 2 episode docu-series that I'm pretty sure nobody's gonna watch unless you like Erica Jane. I'm not watching. I don't care that much. Yeah, I don't understand why they're not getting the respect that they deserve because as a whole, that reunion looks the
Oh
one that we're
my
gonna watch
gosh, they
is
killed it.
absolutely amazing.
They
Absolutely
absolutely
amazing.
ate it. You know, I think they should go back to Peacock and make it uncensored. Make them the
Yeah, just
first Housewives franchise that the whole thing is uncensored and let it rip.
let it rip. All the fox and all the fox and all the fox.
Exactly. Agreed. I think it would give us all like, do you know that boost it would give it if they just had the whole thing uncensored? Because that, and then just keep the rest of it, be like, hey, you know, you're only getting the reunions uncensored. Fine. Because the high we all get from hearing like Baby Gorgeous yell, you're fucking disgusting. Like it is, there's no drug that will give me that. So yeah, I think keep doing that, but go ahead and Miami, I bet a lot of things would change if they did that. I'm
Yeah,
willing to
I
bet.
agree. I think Miami should go back to Peacock and let Bravo focus what Bravo focus on their ground, their crown jewels, right?
Mhm.
Um, it's like the Traitors. The Traitors is an excellent show.
Keep it
Excellent
on
to me.
Peacock.
Is It's one of my favorite shows right now, Aaron. And I usually like, I used to wait for the next day to watch it. No, now every Thursday I'm watching
Yeah,
it as soon as it comes out because it's that good. Like I want to
absolutely.
watch it. Like I don't want anybody to spoil it to me. I'm invested. I had
Yeah.
never watched a Bachelor or I'm not a big Survivor. I don't care for any of those shows.
No.
But to be honest, the way that this show kind of make me so invested on these people that I don't even know,
Mhm.
I'm here for it. I'm here for
Same.
it.
I love it.
You know. So, Caitlin, any last word before we go?
Just I'm so glad to have been on here with you and share the New York experience with you. And friends, please listen to Besties by Bravo on any platform you listen to podcasts and subscribe to Besties by Bravo on YouTube and follow at Besties by Caitlin on Instagram and TikTok.
There you have it. And like you guys know, you can also find me on pretty much everything. Oh, actually everything. As Martini with Eddie on
Mhm.
Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, podcast, wherever you listen to your podcast, I'm there. Also go to YouTube and follow me on YouTube. Really appreciate it. I'm working on a rebranding. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
New year, new haircut, new vibes. So
Yeah.
everything is going to be rebranded. It's gonna be released very soon. That's why I'm taking everything at a different pace. You know, life got a little busy. I don't get time to do that many podcasts anymore. But when I do one, I want to make sure that it's juicy. That you guys are gonna get real juice. I'm gonna be working on that too as well. So Caitlin, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
an amazing experience. I watched What Happened Live, and you know
Oh,
we had a great time. We gotta do it again.
we
We gotta do it
did.
again.
Except let's be behind the bar. Andy, call me.
From your mouth to the heavens. So,
Please.
okay, everybody. So have a great night, everybody. And like I always say with me, bye,
Hi,
bestie.
bestie.